Good morning, welcome back to the woods. Now, I did promise you in my last video that I'd have another axe and another knife. Here's the axe, and this is a Wetterlings, I think it's the Bushcraft axe. And this is the same size as a Gransford small forest axe. But, as I mentioned before, these have a different profile. Far better for splitting. Check that out. Knife. Old sheath. Disregard the sheath. And this is a bush tool made by myself in RWL 34. With the butt plate, and this one's a bit different to normal because I've put that dip in it, the same as on the tribute knives, and I've got a bow drill divot. Looking forward to using this. So, plan is, haven't got a lot of time today, it's Easter Sunday and I gotta get home for lunch. Nice lamb dinner. What I'm going to do, I'm going to do a one log fire so I can use my axe and my knife to try them out. I know they're going to be great, but you got to try them out. So a one log fire, and I'm going to boil a cup of water on that. I'm going to cut the log on my sawhorse because it's just easier. I got a silky saw with me like normal. I'm going to cut a knot-free chunk. And I'm basically going to split it up into different grades, make a few feather sticks. I'm going to put 3, maybe 4 sticks in the ground, put my kettle on top of that and boil just enough water to make a cup of tea. I'll probably then just turn it into a regular fire. First thing I'm going to do is just put enough water in my kettle for 1 cuppa. And if you're wondering why I've got my old kettle, is because I've decided to leave it here. Leave it in camp. You'll see why I only put 1 cuppa's worth in when I do it. That went well. Most important thing with this is trying to get that knot free, and I was lucky because there was a lot of cracks in that wood, so split pretty easy. Still not as easy as using a chopping block, mind you. Now I've picked 3 here that aren't going to split that well because of knots or whatever, and I'm going to put these in the ground. You see where I'm going with this? Now I've got to make some fine kindling and some feather sticks. So back to the little log. I'm just picking the ones now that won't split very well and putting them underneath. Four for feather sticks. Now I just need to make some small splits. Plenty of small splits. Now I've got to do some feathers. One of my favourite things in the world. So what I'll do, I'll make 4 chunky ones, not super chunky, but you know, not igniter sticks. I'll make one nice one then to light the ferrorod. I'll get back to you. There's my igniter stick. And there's my chunky ones. This wood is lovely and dry, so there shouldn't be a problem at all. Famous last words. Old Faithful. I've had my cup of tea and I thought I'd talk to you about that now. Took 35 minutes from the first saw cut to the kettle going on. It's a bit slow. Granted, if I'd used a bundle of twigs instead of feather sticks, it would have gone up a lot quicker. But I wanted to use the axe and the knife, and it's a nice technique to show. And I first saw that technique on a course that Scott and I attended about, I don't know, 12, 13 years ago with Woodsmoke, Ben McNutt's company. And I can't say enough good things about Ben's company because I always learn a lot when I go on one of his courses. He's really good, and he's no wild human. Knife and axe performed great. You know, I knew they would, but you got to have a play of now. If any of you were wondering why I didn't use Ray Mears' splitting technique between the legs, it's because it's crap. That technique for splitting is a lot better. It's safer for a start. That between the legs business, I really don't like that. And the wood up here is tough. If you watch me regularly, you know sometimes I get a hell of a job splitting rounds down. Old Ray in his video doing that, he's splitting sweet chestnut, which just explodes. Straight grained, real easy to split. This stuff ain't. Well, one of the end logs now, I'm gonna split that up on the chopping block just to see how good the axe is with pretty crappy wood. Let's face it, nobody likes splitting wood full of knots. But you know, you've got to do these things. Got to use that wood up, can't just throw it in the hedge. And it takes too long to burn in one piece, especially today where I'm a bit short of time. I've only got another hour and a quarter. Well, I'm going to split that now, and then I'm going to talk to you a bit about ferrorods. That was a tough one, bloody hell. Considering there's quite a fine grind on it, no problem. Now when we did the course, the reasoning behind doing that was a test at the end of the course. And it was basically, I can't remember if it was a knife or not, but what it was to do that, to boil a cup of water with one log, and you give them one match. That's right, one match. And the difficult thing was, you had one match, but it was raining. It was a crappy old day. In fact, it was a crappy old week, if I remember correctly. Most of the time it was raining. And I actually won the competition, not because of my awesome skills, well, yeah, it probably was, but because I didn't put that match in my pocket. in my damp clothes. I jammed the match in the bark of a tree where it was dry, and I left it there until it was all over with. You didn't get a striking surface. You had to use the writing on the axe to strike the match. Well, not the perfect surface, and everybody else, including Scott, who is an awesome bushcrafter, failed on that, and you had to do 20 push-ups to get another match. Well, lucky for me, I had the sense to put the match in the dry, and it lit first time. Lit my feather sticks. But I really can't remember if we had a knife or not, or we had to do the feather sticks with the axe. So that's what I'm going to do now with this axe. Try and make a little feather stick, light it with one match. Well, that's pretty awful. So I'm pretty sure we had a knife as well. And I've just remembered the box of matches I got are safety matches. Guess who's a Wetterlings convert? Me. This is much better than the Gransfors, for me anyway. That profile just rocks. It's great. It was a bit crap for making a feather stick, but it wasn't the best piece of wood. And to be fair, who in their right mind would rely on an axe to make a feather stick? Not me. I did find it a bit uncomfortable holding it like that to do that fine work. That's quite thin, and that's very pronounced, and it dug in to my hand there. So not an axe for fine work. Weight wise, it's great. Yes, I'm a Wetterlings convert. Definitely. We'll start with the thickest first. And I'm going to use the back of my knife for this. See, it's just peeling off. Well, that was pretty good, but I've got to go really light with this one. Now the army one. Well, that was peeling off that way as well. And the spine on this is really sharp. That's crap. See, there's a reason I don't use that. I've actually got a peanut lighter on there as well, but there's no gas in it. When you tend to use a ferrorod with the back of a knife, if that back spine is sharp, it just takes too much material off. You just don't want that. You want a spark. I know some people like to do that and take the material off and then ignite the material, but I'm not keen on that idea. It takes too much off your ferrorod. Well, I think that proved just about nothing really. I don't think there's much difference whenever you use a big thick one or a thin one. Not the way I do it anyway. I try to use just the tip, the Great Kochanski way, and that worked just fine. That was excellent. I'm never going to slag off them strikers ever again. This big lumper is a bit soft. I think I'd prefer to use that with a knife rather than a striker, but it depends a lot on the pressure you put on. Well, I don't think it matters how thick your ferrorod is. It's all about the pressure you use and the way you position your hands. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Ta-ra. I'm not going to use my chopping block. I'm going to do it the technique with the axe and no chalking fucking start again. Yes, thanks to European... Start that again. Well, thanks to the European Union, we're not allowed to strike anywhere matches anymore. Sons of bitches. I wonder if we'll get matches now that we're out. Well, you didn't actually see that because the camera was pointing up. Oh well, I can go in the end, bugger it. Oh God. It just didn't prove a thing. But if you're going to use a big one, I don't know why the fuck I'm bothering you. I just don't know. Well, that was a bit of a strange one. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know why I bother doing this. Start again. Well, they all work just fine. Birch bark is pretty easy to light, let's face it. All the so-called bushcrafters use it in their fireboxes.